Anyway, I'll let you look at the Kansas skies. It might be too sunny right now. I dissipated. Yeah, but there's the sun. I don't want to burn out my camper. Anywho, you know how I always talk about that Chinese proverb, right? Is it good or is it bad? Is it good or is it bad, right? I'm sorry, I don't want to smoke in front of the camera for fear that it might get copyright or not violation. So, is it good or is it bad? You know, when I look at myself right now, I don't know. Is it good or is it bad? Am I the guy that am I the son that broke his leg so that he didn't have to go to war? I know I talked about the movie Stalker by Andrei Tarkovsky. I want to discuss that. But, there's a part in the movie where there's this guy named Porcupine, and he was the original stalker for the movie, before the movie. So he was the original guy that did all the touring in it. You know, like going through the zone and taking people through the zone. But towards the end, he decided that he wanted to quit doing it, and all he wanted was a bunch of money, you know? He wanted to retire and have a bunch of money and enjoy life. But what happened was, when he did receive that gift from the zone, he ended up killing himself. Because he didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't what he thought he wanted, right? So, he didn't know what he really wanted. But he thought being rich and retiring from his work and, you know, living the golden life that he wanted, he always dreamed of, would fulfill his desires. Unfortunately, it didn't. And unfortunately, it was like the demise of him. In the end. I mean, apparently he only had wealth for a limited amount of time before he just couldn't handle it. That's what the movie tells you, before the next guy took over in his position and started doing Porcupine's work as the stalker in the zone. I don't know if this is a real concept, but I looked it up. It's called Man versus Fate. So I'm not a big expert in it. I couldn't tell you. But do I struggle with faith all the time? Do I struggle with spirituality all the time? I'm not wholeheartedly feeling I go through those moments. But I don't know, is it good or is it bad? Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. You know that saying, let go and let God, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. But we can explore that. I mean, if you want, I'm looking up, but I mean, it's a concept. Man versus faith. I can't imagine going through life not struggling with faith, though. I've always struggled with it. I always ask myself, hey God, are you there? I can really use a helping hand right now, The only thing that ever pretty much fulfills that is God, regardless of the situation. But we can explore it. I don't know. Maybe it's about letting go and let God. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I struggle with faith all the time. Probably like a lot of you. You don't want to come off being some holy roller Jesus freak, to everyone, forcing your opinions down their throat and how things should be. I wouldn't say I'm a direct link to God in any way. Gosh, that's quite a, I don't know, quite a status to be given if it's by God, but by man, that's a whole different concept in and of itself. Do you understand what I mean? Like for man to think that you have a direct link to God, a direct communication, and that you're the only way that we understand God is quite an honor. But the whole time I'm sitting here thinking I don't know what to do, God. And I'm just always praying nonstop. I'm struggling the whole time. I don't know if what I'm going through now is good or bad. Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. But do I think I'm the Antichrist, or do I think I know who the Antichrist is? No, honestly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know big political circles or small people that might have too much influence now or what. I don't know. When I go on TikTok, sometimes I see someone with 1 million likes, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, are they a chosen one by God, or are they the Antichrist? They're just a nobody. I don't know. It's not my choice. No. Do I think such and such is? I don't know. I don't know. It's not my place to say that. It's not who. I don't have that authority. That's an internal spiritual struggle for whoever that is, Where do you fit yourself in this world? So, I always thought, well, in the end, Porcupine, although he did get the riches he so desired and wanted to retire from being a stalker, It actually destroyed him in the end. He thought he wanted that, but in the end it wasn't what he really wanted, you know? I don't know. Who knows? Life is a mystery, right? We're all exploring on this journey. Some of us are in positions of power, and some of us are poor as fuck, scraping by on very little. But we don't know. We really don't know what God's divine plan is, I guess. You know? We really don't know. And now, I don't mean just God in the sense of Sky Daddy. We've already assessed that it's a matter of a divine consciousness, how we're all interlinked in this. You ever watch Prometheus by Ridley Scott? I think it's, what's his name, that comes down. Prometheus. And then all of a sudden they destroy him at the end. And then he becomes us, I think, in the end. I think. That's my assumption. That's who we are, or something. I don't know, God. I don't know. Are we elements of all the same thing? Who knows? Anywho, I better go in. None of my business, right? Unless it affects me directly. Anywho. I don't mean to sound rude about it, but I really don't care about people's whatever, and figure it's none of my business unless it's directly affecting me. And when it starts directly affecting you, what can I do? Anyways, my internet will probably go down and I'll burn the witch and I have to run to the truck stops to suck dick to safety. You know, talk about man versus faith. Man versus faith. Anyways, let's get this real done quick and I'll explain to what I mean by that. So I want to show you this. Is that heaven? Does heaven look like that? What do you guys think? That's like the screensaver. I wonder if heaven looks like that. Maybe a little, sometimes, like the Taoists say, you know, heaven is black, so who knows? Who knows? Quite pretty, though. Man versus faith. Let's go with Stalker first, so I'm just starting it. By Andrei Tarkovsky. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm just one of his biggest fans, but this is the movie. This guy, does he want to be Jesus Christ? Who knows? Does he want to be William Shakespeare? Who knows? Does the professor want to be Albert Einstein? Who knows? So, and this guy right here,
All he does is send people into this place called the zone. And this guy wants to be the next Albert Einstein. This guy can't figure out if he wants to be Jesus Christ or William Shakespeare, I think. And this guy's just regulated to do or this kind of work, dangerous work to attain people's hopes, dreams, and wishes. Great, beautiful movie. But apparently, after Porcupine died, or after Porcupine got rich and killed himself, this guy right there got in charge. The cast is like right there, Alexander Kadansky and I think Professor. But you're talking about people that are way, way back when. I don't know if they're even around. They're locked in Russia somewhere, I'm sure. Andrei Tarkovsky died. That's like 1979, though. Yeah. He was one of my, I guess he's still one of my favorite directors. But anyway, it's an unnamed country at an unspecified or specified time. There is a fiercely protected, a post apocalyptic wasteland known as the Zone. An illegal guide, Alexander Kadansky, whose mutant child speaks unspeakable horrors within the zone. Leads a writer, Anatolia Solonin. I can't. Russian language is too hard for me to. In the heart of this, and a scientist, Nikolai Grinko, I guess. In the heart of the devastation, in search of a mythical place known only as the Room, anyone who enters the room will supposedly have any of their earthly desires immediately fulfilled. Yeah, earthly desires immediately fulfilled. Wow. Anyways, man versus faith. Man versus Faith explores the internal and external conflict between human reason, doubt, free will, and a transcendent belief system. It manifests as a philosophical tension where an individual struggles against religious dogma, divine silence, personal skepticism, or the surrender of control to a higher power. Core dimensions of the conflict: reason versus revelation, the friction between empirical logic, scientific proof, and accepting truths without physical evidence, autonomy versus submission, the human desire for self determination clashing with the requirements to surrender to a divine will or higher order, doubt and testing, personal crisis uh, experience when suffering, unanswered prayers, or life trials shake an individual's foundational beliefs. The human element. Opinions are mixed on Reddit, as some discussions highlight that institutional faith relies heavily on human interpretation, meaning man often wrestles just as much with the human structures of religion as with the divine concept itself. So, I guess we all struggle with that. I don't know. We all do. I don't think there's ever a person in this world who hasn't asked, oh God, help me out. What should I do in this situation? So, let's look at this. Did Jesus Christ struggle with his faith in God? According to Christian theology, Jesus Christ did not experience a crisis of faith or doubt in God's existence, but he did experience intense emotional and psychological anguish, deep distress, and agonizing struggles in fully submitting his human will to the difficult path set before him. So, sounds like man versus faith to me. I don't know. The agony in the Garden of Gethsemane, deep distress before his arrest, Jesus felt overwhelming sorrow and heaviness, telling his disciples his soul was troubled even unto death. the request to remove the cup, he prayed intensely, asking that if it was possible, the cup of suffering and crucifixion pass from him. Submission to the Father, he resolved this deep human struggle by surrendering own preference, concluded with, "Yet not what I will, but what you will." So we can go on and, yeah, anyways. Let's look at it. The cries for the cross. When Jesus cried out, my God, why have forsaken me?" This expression of raw, real human agony under the weight of sin and physical torment rather than the loss of faith. Holding on to God even in the darkest moments, he still addressed God as my God, demonstrating relational trust rather than a renunciation of belief. Theological perspective on Jesus' humanity. Fully human and fully divine. So, because Jesus was fully human, he experienced authentic fear, pain, and exhaustion. And so, passage. So, anyways. Does the Antichrist struggle to know God? In Christianity, theology, the Antichrist does not struggle to know God out of confusion or ignorance. Instead, biblical texts like 2 Thessalonians 2 describes him as fully aware, self-exalting, and deliberate and willful rebellion against God. So, I don't know. Here's the kicker, though. All right. Yes, Christianity is entirely faith-based and centered on Jesus Christ. Christian doctrine teaches that Jesus is the Son of God and salvation depends on personal faith in his life, death, and physical resurrection. All right. Here's one. Let's try that. Yes. All right. There's who agrees that person who lived baptized. Physical evidence. Now, this can be anything from documentation during his life. No direct contemporary physical evidence, such as personal belongings, signed documents, or skeletal remains directly tied to the Jesus of Nazareth, has been documented or verified for his lifetime. As a first-century Jewish peasant, Jesus did not leave behind any personal archaeological footprint, which aligns with how 99.9% of the ordinary individuals from that area are unrepresented in the physical record. I don't know. I guess it's man versus faith, right? The world, the ethers, all of it. We don't know. Let's look at Prometheus, the movie by Ridley Scott, real quick. Ridley Scott. All right, so what happens at the end? Um, the discovery of a clue to mankind's origins on Earth leads. Oops, that's all right. The discovery of a clue to mankind's origins on Earth leads a team of explorers to the darkest part of the universe. Two brilliant young scientists lead the expedition. Sean hopes that they will meet a race of benevolent, godlike beings who will in some way verify her religious beliefs, while Holloway is out to debunk any spiritual notions. However, neither scientist nor the shipmates are proof. Oh well. But in the end of the movie, what happens in the end? I'm sorry to spoil this, but if you haven't watched it already, it's been out long enough since 2012. You should have already watched it by now. At the end of Ridley Scott's Prometheus, Doctor and severed synthetic head of. Wait, is that? Where's that one where Prometheus is destroyed? Because it already says mankind's origin, right? Okay. In Ridley Scott's sci-fi film Prometheus, the title ship USCSS Prometheus is destroyed when, well, that's not a vessel. The godlike. What are they called? Well, I forget what he's called. The god. Theme of gods being destroyed centered on the ancient extra who created. The human creators realize that the makers view them with total disdain, and the higher powers end up destroyed by their own dangerous biological weapons and their flawed creations. So, I don't know. Engineered gods on Earth using his DNA. I don't know. I don't know. Man versus faith. Who knows? Who knows? We're all star seeds, right? They all came from out there somewhere on an asteroid, I think. I don't know. I wasn't there. That was before written history. You might have to ask a scientist about that. But man versus faith. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.